Hello, happy Monday. Amanda Blair here, and I wanted to share a quick video with you guys on what the difference between a red flag is and a deal breaker in relationships. So, red flag is something that we spot usually when we're dating, and we don't know if that is ultimately a deal breaker for us. So, a circumstance or behavior that we don't want in a long-term partner or relationship. And a deal breaker is something that we absolutely know is something we don't want in a long-term partner or relationship. So in a red flag, let's say that is maybe, a deal breaker is someone who smokes pot daily, but the red flag might be someone said, oh, you're on a date with them and they mentioned they got high the week before. And so you would want to investigate their relationship to that substance. Is that something that they do daily? Is it something they just do occasionally? And you would really need to figure out what level of that you're comfortable with, right? Like if there's someone like, oh yeah, it's just like super random, not something I do regularly, great, proceed. If it's something that they're like, yeah, I love to and I do it all the time, if that doesn't work for you, then that would be a deal breaker. So red flags and deal breakers are going to be different for every single person. And it's okay when you're really in that dating phase of just kind of seeing what you want, seeing what you don't want. That's the time that you really want to be figuring out, investigating those red flags and figuring out what your deal breakers are so that you can move and sift through people that are unavailable or just not what you're looking for, right? So like a deal breaker may be someone who wants kids. It may be someone who doesn't want kids. It could be someone who isn't willing to move to a new country or et cetera. It can be a million things. And the obvious of like someone who isn't emotionally available or ready for what you want, right? Someone who doesn't want to get married and marriage is really important to you. But there's going to be a lot of red flags that came before those deal breakers that you investigated to help you get to that, like, I know this doesn't work for me, right? So that investigating the red flag period is a really important time because then you learn how to trust you, for sure, you get out of that place of, oh, I'm being too picky, right? And you understand, like, I know what I want. I feel really good. I feel my worth about that because I have done the work. I know what it is. So here's a quick exercise to help you start to determine what that is for you. I want you to first go through and like at the top of your journal, label deal breakers. And I want you to go through your last 5 relationships or dating experiences and list out any deal breakers that you found in there, right? So maybe you were dating someone and they were like, don't want kids. And you were like, that's a big no because I know that I do. Or someone who's like, I really want kids. And you were like, ooh, I don't. So that's a no, right? So go through any deal breakers that you found out through relationships or that you just know, right? And then I want you to go through and list any red flags underneath that. So at the bottom of that list, red flags, and list that and go through those past 5 relationships to find those as well. And ask yourself, what would be the deal breaker of that red flag? What would be the okay version of that red flag? Like if that turned to, a green flag, so to speak. So for example, the smoking pot example, if they smoke pot occasionally, not a big deal. Smoke pot every day, big deal. Okay, so that way you can have that list. And then when you start to, or you're dating or you're meeting people, you're going to start looking through that deal breaker list. Are any of the deal breakers there? If it's a deal breaker, it's a no and it's a bye. And if it's a red flag, it's a stop, investigate, and figure out if a deal breaker is there for you or not with some, open and honest communication, maybe even a hard conversation or 2. So that's what I have for you today. Hope that helps and happy dating.